Hey, I'm Isla. Welcome to Entities from Beyond, the channel where we explore the paranormal, everything from hauntings to urban legends and more. If you're drawn to haunted houses, cursed objects, urban legends, or if you have ever had the feeling that someone or something is watching you when no one's there, then you're in the right place. Tonight we begin with one of the most famous hauntings in modern history, the Enfield Poltergeist. In the summer of 1977, an ordinary council house in the suburb of Enfield, North London, became the epicenter of one of the most famous and hotly debated paranormal cases in British history. What unfolded at 284 Green Street would captivate the media, attract paranormal investigators from around the world, and leave a legacy that still fuels debate to this day. Known as the Enfield Poltergeist, this chilling case featured violent disturbances, eerie voices, and alleged spirit possession, all centered around a young girl named Janet Hodgson. The Hodgson family consisted of Peggy Hodgson, a single mother, and her 4 children, Margaret, age 13, Janet, 11, Johnny, 10, and Billy, 7. On the night of August 30th, 1977, Peggy called the police in a state of panic. Her daughters had reported that their beds were shaking, and she had witnessed furniture moving on its own. When Police Constable Carolyn Heaps arrived, she too claimed to see a heavy armchair slide across the floor without any visible cause. From that point on, the activity intensified rapidly. The family reported knocking sounds that came from the walls and ceiling, drawers opening and closing, objects being thrown, and disembodied voices. As the phenomena continued, it became clear that the events were mostly centered on Janet, the younger daughter, who appeared to be the primary focus of the disturbances. The Hodgson family was like many others at the time. A single mother, Peggy Hodgson, was doing her best to raise her 4 children in a modest North London home. Margaret was 13, Janet, 11, Johnny, 10, and little Billy, just 7 years old. But everything changed on the night of August 30th, 1977. Peggy called the police, terrified. Her daughters said their beds were shaking, and Peggy herself had witnessed something no mother ever expects to see. The furniture moving on its own. The deeper the family fell into this nightmare, the clearer it became. Janet was the one it wanted. Over the course of the next 18 months, the Hodgsons experienced a range of chilling activity, much of which was witnessed not only by the family, but also by outsiders. Investigators, journalists, and neighbors all reported incidents that defied logical explanation. Among the most notable occurrences, furniture levitating and moving violently, marbles and toys flying across rooms, often without being touched, cold gusts of wind in sealed rooms, voices coming from Janet's mouth, which were deep, raspy, and claimed to be an old man named Bill Wilkins. Apparitions, including a shadowy male figure. One of the most disturbing aspects was Janet's alleged possession. She would go into trance-like states, speaking in a voice that didn't resemble her own. The voice identified itself as Bill Wilkins, a man who claimed he had died in the house after suffering a brain hemorrhage. The detail about his death was later confirmed when investigators tracked down his son, who corroborated parts of the story. Over the next 18 months, the Hodgsons endured something far beyond creaking floors or cold drafts. They lived through a haunting so intense, it drew the attention of investigators, journalists, and neighbors alike. All of them, people outside the home, claimed to witness things that defied logic. Furniture levitating, toys and marbles flying through the air without a single hand touching them, icy gusts of wind rushing through sealed rooms. And then a voice. But it didn't sound like a frightened 11-year-old girl. It sounded like something else, something angry. The voice claimed to be a man named Bill Wilkins. He said he'd died in that very house, after suffering a brain hemorrhage while sitting in his favorite chair. Investigators eventually tracked down Wilkins's son, and he confirmed the details of his father's death. For many, that moment changed everything. Because how could a young girl know such specific, verifiable details, unless she was being told, or unless something was speaking through her? Photographs taken during the height of the haunting show Janet suspended in the air, levitating several feet off her bed. Skeptics argue she was simply jumping, that the camera caught her mid-air, nothing more than clever timing. But others aren't so sure. They point to the twisted arch of her back, the angle of her limbs, and the look on her face. A look not of joy, but of sheer distress. As the haunting gained media attention, the case caught the interest of the Society for Psychical Research, or SPR. They sent 2 investigators, whose names are now forever linked with this story. Maurice Grosse had recently joined the society after the heartbreaking loss of his daughter in a motorcycle accident. That grief opened him to the possibility that the world we see may not be all there is. Lyon Playfair, a seasoned researcher and author, joined him soon after. He would later write a book on the case, aptly titled "This House is Haunted." Together, Grosse and Playfair spent over a year inside the Hodgson home. They recorded hundreds of hours of audio, captured photographic evidence, and witnessed things that defied explanation. Despite their belief that something real was happening, both men admitted not everything was genuine. They believed the children, Janet in particular, did sometimes fake incidents. But they were also clear that the core of what they observed was real. A presence they could not explain. More than 30 independent witnesses, including police officers, neighbors, and journalists, reported experiencing unexplainable events inside the house. So what do you do with a case where both things are true, where trickery and terror lived side by side? The Enfield Poltergeist remains one of the most well-documented hauntings in modern history. It has been the subject of numerous documentaries, books, and dramatizations, including the Sky-Living miniseries The Enfield Haunting and the major motion picture The Conjuring 2, where it served as the primary supernatural case investigated by Ed and Lorraine Warren, though their real-life involvement in the case was minimal. To this day, opinions on the Enfield case are sharply divided. Some believe it's one of the strongest examples of true poltergeist activity ever recorded. Whether you believe it or not, the Enfield Poltergeist continues to echo through the world of the unexplained. Thanks for joining me. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Until next time.